We're going to switch over our coverage now to the women's shot put, and we'll try to get you an update on where they are along the way in just a minute. But they began competing about 12 minutes ago. This is Emory's Leela Wilburn. The most recent throw came from, actually, no, I beg your pardon, that was Cora Dreffs. Jordan Carter from Brandeis threw the last one at 10.55 meters. But again, Brandeis picks up 10 points in the men's triple jump with a champion from Churchill Perry. All right, as we look at the women's shot put, especially because the meet here this year being hosted at Case, it's hard not to think about what could have been with one of the best Spartans to ever throw the women's shot put. I know she was a former teammate of yours, Cassandra Laus. Unfortunately, last week was it that she suffered a season-ending injury. She would have qualified for nationals with the fourth longest throw. She certainly had the conference championship within her grasp and unable to compete this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, even outside of shot put, she was qualifying to nationals in the weight throw and the best weight thrower in the conference. So that's a huge loss for Case, and really disappointing not to have her out here competing this weekend. And
we'll get to some of the scores here momentarily on the women's shot put side. The conference championship furthest throw, Nicole Murphy, 13.96 in 2009. We'll see if anybody can potentially challenge that at some point today. Give you an idea at where things stand coming into today's action in terms of the best performances on the season. Of course, Cassandra Laus was at 14.09 meters, but I mean, quite literally more than 2 meters further than the next closest competitor. So she was far and away the favorite, and that kind of makes for an exciting competition for everyone else. What is certainly a frustrating, ending for Laus might mean that the competition's a little more open here, and perhaps we have a new champion in the making that didn't think that would be a possibility.
yeah, it definitely makes the field a little bit tighter without Laus out there 2 meters ahead of everybody else, which is a huge gap in shot put. But it definitely makes it more exciting for them, and it opens up the door for somebody else to step up on the top of the podium.
So as the women's shot put goes through, let's tell you who all the competitors are. We'll just kind of run down the list. From Brandeis, Jessie Moore. Kirsten Chuck from Carnegie Mellon. A couple of young ladies throwing for Washington University, Randall Walker and Jessica Zepeda. From Chicago, Ada Ayula, Carnegie Mellon's Alessandra Tully, Shannon Carroll from Case Western, Emory's Leela Wilburn, Chicago's Hallie Parton, another Case Spartan, Melissa Queller, Emory's Greta Wilker, Brandeis Jordan Carter, and from Emory, Cora Dreffs. Meanwhile, at the same time, you can see there on the middle and right-hand side of your screen, the women's high jump also has gotten underway. And here are those competitors. Alexandra Thompson from the University of Chicago. From Brandeis, Willa Moan. Emory's Nyla Lindo. Washington University, Marielle Lutz. Gabrielle Davis from Emory. University of Chicago, Laura Darcy. Emory's Jordan Small. From Brandeis in the high jump for the ladies, Jessie Moore. 3 consecutive competitors from Case, Julie Hines, Bailey Flint, and Sam Keltz. From Chicago, also competing, Ada Ayula. She's also in the shot put. And from Washington University, Anna Casio. So those are the ladies. You'll hear those names over the next, I'd say next 30 minutes or so, and we'll show you some coverage along the way from both the shot put and from the high jump. For a moment, Nate and I will step aside. When we come back, we'll get you all caught up on how things are going so far on the shot put and on the women's high jump. Our first champion of the day, Churchill Perry from Brandeis in the men's triple jump. Our coverage continues in just a minute here from Case. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of the 2018 Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field UAA Championships. I'm Brennan Gulick along with Nate Wahner, and we will pick up action here on the women's high jump. And occasionally we'll hop over to the women's shot put as well. Both events are being held concurrently. So, to give you an idea how things are going on the high jump, at the moment they are jumping at 5 feet. And there are only a couple of competitors that look like they're still involved in the action. Got a jumper for WashU here. And apparently a successful jump. She clears the 5-foot mark. Great form. We'll let you know it was either Anna Casio or Maria Lutz. I believe it was Casio. Casio qualified at 1.57 meters, which is certainly one of the better qualifying marks this year. The top high jumper in the conference is Laura Darcy from the University of Chicago. Darcy at 1.63 meters. Right now is on the outside looking in for the national meet, but not by too much.
Yeah, she was the winner in the women's long jump yesterday, so she's coming back again to compete and see if she can pick up another title.
This was ever so close to the bar, but officially clears. You can graze the bar, you just can't knock it off. And that bar wiggled pretty good, but it stayed up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get over the bar, but it just matters if you clear it or not.
Unfortunately, that one was Maria Lutz, and she did not clear at 5 feet. This appears to be Emory's Jordan Small. Jordan Small with a qualifying jump of 1.60. And she clears 5 feet. Nice work for her. So to give you an idea, 1.60 is 5 feet 3 inches. So clearing at 5 feet is not necessarily a great mark for her, but it certainly helps her move along. Everybody has 3 opportunities to clear at each height. That time we did not see anyone, or did not see it clear. Let's see. That is one of the Case Western's young ladies. It is Bailey Flint. Bailey Flint with a 1.51 season best. So this would be a tough jump for her at 5 feet. Meanwhile, Marielle Lutz, I know she's I know she's jumped at least once at this height. Not sure if this is her second or third attempt. Just grazes it with her legs. Awfully close. The conference meet record, by the way, is 1.70 meters, which is a heck of a high jump. .70 is 5 feet 7 inches, so it's only slightly higher than this bar. That was another competitor from Case. Some of the young ladies here have bib numbers on, but admittedly not all of them. And it looks like whoever that was for the Spartans couldn't quite make it to the next round. So they've moved the bar up to 5 feet 2 inches. And our field narrows a little bit. Looks like Alexandra Thompson from the University of Chicago is still alive. Laura Darcy, maybe alive too. They look like they're getting loose.
Yeah, it looks like there's about 5 athletes left. 3 from Chicago, Anna Cosio from WashU, and Jordan Small of Emory.
And you know they're still alive because they're inside the ropes as opposed to the outside, just watching the competition. I appreciate that you recognize the faces a little easier than I do.
Just being around the conference
hey man,
for
that's
4
okay.
years and
No
start
problem
to
at all.
pick people out.
I want to make sure we identify everybody the right way, so feel free to tell me when I do that incorrectly. I think at the first one here, this should be Laura Darcy. Or is it Alexandra Thompson?
I believe
okay,
it's
it'll
Alexandra
be
Thompson.
Okay. We've already completed the men's triple jump, women's high jump, and women's shot put going on at the moment. Alexandra Thompson from the left side. Great leap. Boy, she's got incredibly long legs. I have to imagine that's a little challenging to make sure that she pulls those up high enough to clear the bar, but long and lean and leaps over 5'2" on her very first effort.
Yeah, and Chicago is the top 3 performers in this event, and all of them are tied right now for being top 25 in the nation.
While they are all top 25, at the moment, none of them are inside the top 17, which you need to get to qualify for the national championships down in Birmingham in a couple weeks. I believe that was Jordan Small from Emory. No, Nyla Lindo. Is Jordan Small still in? Did we see? Oh, you know what? I don't think she cleared on that last 5 foot, or is she still here?
She's standing there waiting. She'll be
Okay,
up
so there
after
are 2 Emory
Laura
young
Darcy.
ladies here. Okay.
Yeah, this is Laura Darcy that's up now from Chicago.
And she is the top qualifying mark in the country so far in the women's high jump. Here she comes. Almost just grazed the bar and knocked it off. We've been on the air for about an hour and a half, and our coverage got underway at 9 o'clock this morning. It's just after 10:30. Alongside Nate Wahner and Brendan Gulick, we've had one event go final, and these are our second and third field events of the morning. Here comes Jordan Small, and she'll have to take another crack at it too. If you're interested in our track events, those will get going at 12 noon and at 12:15 with the mile runs. So just a little over an hour and a half from now. Then at 12:40, we'll start up the sprints. Those will be concurrent with the men's shot put. That'll be the final field event of the meet. The bar remains at 5 feet 2 inches. And for Chicago, this is Aid Ayula. Almost. I think she clipped it just with her heel. Oh, that was ever so close. Oh, you know what? It was her hamstring. It was that left leg just not quite high enough.
Yeah, she just caught that just enough to throw it off.
So far, only one competitor is cleared at 5 feet 2 inches, and that was Chicago's Alexandra Thompson. Anna Casio from WashU with her first attempt at 5'2". Got it!
She just grazed that bar. You can see it barely staying on there on the far side.
So Casio is through. And now we go on to the second opportunities. Nyla Lindo. That time she clipped it with her hip on the elevated part of her jump. So Lindo will have one more chance to try and move on. Meanwhile, Laura Darcy once more for Chicago. And Darcy's on. So 2 ladies from Chicago moving aboard. Fabulous jump.
Yeah, they're going to start moving up towards their PRs on the year and potentially starting to move up and fight for national qualifying positions if they keep jumping like this.
Jordan Small just a little bit off her mark. So she'll have one more chance. So far, Alexandra Thompson, Laura Darcy, and Anna Casio. Thompson and Darcy from Chicago, Casio from Washington University. Those 3 have all cleared 5 feet 2 inches. Top 3 will be all association. Last chance, and that's a good jump. Ada Ayula. Actually, I beg your pardon, she would have had one more chance had she not cleared that, but she does eclipse the 5.2 mark, and so all 3 young ladies from Chicago are moving on. Emory trying to push ahead too. Nyla Lindo on her final attempt at 5 feet 2 inches. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a heartbreak right there. Just so close to staying on.
Jordan Small. And she's through. Jordan Small keeps Emory alive on the women's high jump. And her final jump at 5'2".
Lindo will be the 6th place finisher in this event, so she'll pick up 1 point for her team. And now we have 5 moving on, so these 5 are fighting for those 3 podium positions to become all conference.
They certainly are, and if you're a Maroon fan, you love the fact that your women are probably going to pick up some significant points here with all 3 of your competitors still alive in the women's high jump. We'll try to get you some of the marks from the women's shot put here momentarily. I know they are working on eventually cutting down the field from 14, or I should say from 13 down to 7. The top qualifying mark came from Chicago's Ada Ayula, who is competing in the women's high jump at the same time. I don't think it's too often, but you said that it doesn't. It's not quite as infrequent as you might think, where someone would compete in both shot put and high jump.
Yeah, you need to be a powerful athlete with the legs, and shot put is one of those where you might think it's more of a upper body type of event, but there's a lot of power generated from the legs and the hips to really move that shot put. And then she's a very tall athlete, so that helps her too. She's got a long release, and once you release it that high, it just travels much further than a lower release. So it's easier if you're a taller athlete to do both.
So how does it work for someone who wants to compete in both events and those championships are being contested simultaneously?
Well, there's a lot of running back and forth, and so when you're competing in both, there's a lot of running back and forth, trying to get attempts here at the high jump bar and then also get attempts throwing, and you don't want to miss your turn, because if you do, then it's usually a pass, and that means you forfeit your throw. So you'll probably see her take her attempt here, hopefully make it, and then she can run over to the throwing ring and get her attempt there.
Takes an awful lot of concentration to be able to flip the switch between the two events so quickly. Eula did not, or I should say Alexandra Thompson did not clear on 5-4 on her first attempt. Laura Darcy is unable to just nip the top of the bar. So Thompson, Darcy, Eula, all alive for the women's high jump. But first, Jordan Small from Emory. Small has her work cut out for her at 5 feet 4 inches. By the way, we are going to try to get you some of the coverage here pretty quickly of the women's shot put finals. At the moment, though, we are close to wrapping up the high jump. Just so you know, if Small clears this mark, it would be a new personal best this season for her. She has not cleared 5-4. Another missed opportunity there for Chicago.
Yeah, this is starting to push up towards all of their season bests, and as you said, Jordan Small, she's jumping for a season best at this point. Anna Casio, I believe, has already hit a season best today, and she's jumping for one herself now. This event is really starting to heat up and get competitive, and we'll see how high they're able to push it.
There are 5 competitors remaining at 5 feet 4 inches. Anna Casio, Jordan Small, Alexandra Thompson, Laura Darcy, and Ada Eula. This is Casio. And so far, no one's been able to clear 5 feet 4 inches. Meanwhile, Alex Thompson, she'll run up that left side in a moment. I think Eula may have gone over to the shot put pit. I don't see her, unless maybe I'm just missing her.
She's still here in the high jump
Oh, there
area.
she is. Okay. Yeah, she's standing behind Miss Thompson. I looked right over the top of her head. Nice jump for Alex Thompson. Just barely. But just barely is good enough.
Yeah, we've got a saying here at Case that bars are bars, and it's all about getting over it. It's not about, how pretty you look or how great your form is, because you don't get extra points for that. It's all about just getting over the bar and getting your mark.
I like that. So Thompson's the first one to clear there. She has a high season mark of 1.63 meters. So does Laura Darcy, who's jumping here. 1.63 meters is just a little bit over this mark, and Darcy clears it too. So the conference meet bringing out the best from the University of Chicago's women's high jump team. Now it's up to Jordan Small. And Jordan Small unable to grab it. She'll have one more chance at 5 feet 4 inches. And Ocasio still has to clear this hurdle as well. Ada Eula had walked over to the shot put pit and is now coming back. I imagine she's happy with her throw. She just gave a big emphatic high five to her coach as she walks over. So we'll try to get you an update from that. They have begun the women's shot finals, and Eula at 11.42 meters right now sits in third in those finals. The top mark since they went to the finals belongs to Cora Dreffs from Emory at 11.50 meters. Also seeing a good throw from Case's Shannon Carroll, 11.38 meters. Those are some of the best so far in the women's shot finals. So Casio did not clear the bar. Ayula, Casio, and Small. Jordan Small in the navy jersey from Emory. Casio wearing the green top. She's from Washington. And Aid Ayula, who's about to jump here, hoping to join each of her two teammates, Alex Thompson and Laura Darcy, in having cleared 5 feet 4 inches. Not on that one. I beg your pardon, I've been mispronouncing her first name, and I don't mean to. First name is pronounced Ade Ayula. So we'll go back over to the shot put ring. And this is either Randall Walker or Jessica Zepeda, one of the two. The only two Washington University competitors. Unfortunately, neither of them is wearing a bib. That was Randall Walker, and she committed a foul. Best mark we've seen came from Greta Wilker from Emory. 12.12 on the women's shot put finals on her first throw. Good for her. Shannon Carroll from Case just threw 11.32 meters. Meanwhile, back in the high jump pit, Anna Casio could not clear 5.4. And so that'll be it for her. So we're down to 4 competitors. Actually, while I was watching the shot put, I did not see. Did Jordan Small compete here in the high jump? Did she clear?
I do not believe so. She's taken off her spikes, so I think she missed at this height.
Okay, so we're down to 3, and Ada Ayula has to try and join her other 2 Chicago teammates. 5.4 is a big jump. Ada Ayula. How about that? All 3 Maroons are through, and she's about to get a big warm hug from her 2 teammates. Super fun. So all 3 Maroons have jumped some of their season bests and are moving along. And they will readjust the bar on the high jump when we go back to our coverage of the shot put. That guarantees Chicago's going to be the top 3 finishers on the high jump, by the way. They're going to pick up a ton of points.
Yeah, they're going to sweep that event and really put a nice start on today, and that's going to help them out a lot later on today.
It'll be 24 team points, correct, between those top 3 spots? 10, 8, and 6. I didn't go to Case, but pretty decent at math.
Yeah, 24 points is that's a huge number to put up in one event.
Oh my
and
gosh.
That's really going to help them. That's a complete sweep of the podium, and not something you see very often.
No, they'll have 3 all-association competitors, but between Thompson, Darcy, and Ayula, still to be determined how that all shakes out. All right, you get a nice wide-angle look. We'll see some running on that track on the outside eventually, but for now this morning, we're continuing our coverage of the field events. The women's high jump has almost reached its conclusion. They'll move the bar up just a little bit, and the women's shot put making its way through the finals. Dreff's faulted on her second throw, so her best is still 11.5. The top throw so far for Case's Shannon Carroll is 11.38.
She's the returning runner-up from last year as well.
That's a pretty darn good throw. Anyone that crosses that white line the official there is standing on is certainly an impressive feat. A lot of power in that toss. In fact, by 1/100th of a meter, it is our second best throw. She threw 12-11 that time, 12-12 in her first attempt. So as the runner-up last year, I imagine she probably feels pretty good about her chance to be a champion this year, given that Cassandra Louse is unable to throw. And if you missed that note earlier, Cassandra Louse was more than 2 meters ahead of everybody else. She didn't have conference championship on her mind. She had national championship on her mind. That throw is significantly shorter than Miss Carroll's, but still a good effort. I believe that's Leela Wilburn from Emory. Actually, that's Greta Wilker, I beg your pardon. And Greta Wilker, nope. Hold on a second, I want to make sure I give you the right one. That is Leela Wilburn, okay. 10.64 for her. Randall Walker now for Washington.
She seems really excited about that throw. She gave a little jump and a clap as she exited the ring.
Let's see where it ends up. .11.06. Good effort from her. Meanwhile, in the women's high jump, nobody has cleared the bar at 5 feet 6 inches yet. And if someone does clear the bar at this site, it would be a season best for all three of these young ladies from Chicago. We'll see what they've got in store for us. That's a foul on Shannon Carroll on the shot put as they put the bar back on top. So the top 5 women's high jump marks of this season, Laura Darcy, Alex Thompson, Ade Ayula, Jordan Small, and Anna Casio, those end up being the top 5 at the conference meet. But in what order, still to be determined. Back to the shot put ring. And that, I believe, is Miss Carter, Jordan Carter from Brandeis. .11.08 meters on her throw. As on the women's high jump bar, Laura Darcy with a new season best. She clears at 5.06.
That'll jump her right up into the top 10 too nationally.
It sure will.
That jump of 5.6. So that was a really big jump for her.
Darcy just jumped, likely from Cleveland to Alabama. We'll have to see if she can continue on, but right now she is eyeing a conference championship. That's another fabulous throw back in the shot put ring. So we come back to the high jump, jumping back and forth, if you will, between the two. Ade Ayula, could you clear 5 feet 6 inches? Not quite. I have to imagine that she is probably fatigued from going back and forth between the shot put ring and the high jump, and somewhere along the way, one of the two is probably going to suffer just a little bit she doesn't have the same rest period that several of the other competitors do.
Yeah, when she's supposed to be resting, she's jogging over and throwing shot put and then jogging back. And
Alex Thompson, not on that one. We've only had one finished event so far, and that came in the men's triple jump. Our champion in that event was Churchill Perry from Brandeis. Eloy Fernandez from Carnegie Mellon took second place. Washington University's Izugo Onejame took third. All right, Ayula one more time. And it looks like she is not going to be able to clear 5 feet 6 inches, which would have been just a monumental leap. The fact that Laura Darcy was able to clear that mark and put her in the national meet was awfully special.
yeah, and if she keeps taking attempts here, she's going to be pushing for a conference record. The conference record is 1.70, which is 5.7, and she cleared 5.6, so she's right on the cusp of breaking that record.
The other thought process, too, knowing you got to be in the top 17 in the country in order to qualify for the national meet. You mentioned that with her clearing 5.6, that she is in the national meet in that regard. But the question is, you know, where do you want to be seated and kind of slotted, I guess, when you get down to Birmingham?
Yeah, and the other question you have to ask, too, is, you know, is my jump of 5.6 good enough to last for 2 more weeks to qualify? Because there are other conference championships taking place this weekend. There's some last chance meets, and she's here is making has to make a decision about whether she wants to go for more jumps and try to secure her position at nationals a little bit more.
So part of the question too, as we welcome you back inside our coverage, that you want to know too, like at what point where do you kind of decide when you want to push your body to the point where, okay, am I pushing myself too much? I certainly don't want to injure myself and then totally wipe out your chances. And so I think for each individual athlete, that's something that you've got to determine on your own.
Yeah, and that's something she's probably talking about with her teammates and her coaches a little bit, even throughout the competition. Just talking about what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and do you feel like you can hit this next jump? And a lot of times, if you're not feeling it, your teammates will be there to pump you up so that you will. There's a great team atmosphere to this kind of meet, and you see it really come out with all 3 of those girls pushing each other to reach that next height, and that push all of them to make the podium. So now Laura Darcy's jumping to secure her spot at nationals.
So the top 3 finishers in the women's high jump are all representing the University of Chicago. We'll hope to have some final numbers for you here from the women's shot put in just a moment, but certainly believe that we have a champion, and that is Emory's Greta Wilker, who had the top 2 throws, actually. Her winning throw was 12.12 meters, so Greta Wilker is a UAA champion. In fact, she had the top 3 throws. She also threw 11.79. What an effort from her. Second place was Emory's Cora Dreffs. So Wilker and Dreffs go 1-2 in the women's shot put. Meanwhile, the women's triple jump will begin at 11 a.m., so they are doing a couple of warm-ups here as we start to show you some of those. For a moment, we'll step aside while they try to get things situated for Laura Darcy and see if she could maybe clear another height on the women's high jump. But we know she will be the UAA champion in the women's high jump. So coverage of the women's triple jump and our concluding coverage of the women's high jump when we return to the 2018 Indoor Track and Field Championships for the UAA.
She's probably only like 5'8".
Yeah. Stop your legs. So the power is.
Autumn is up.
I'm not trying to. I have to.
Good job. I like to make friends. Even though it's like hard because I never compete against them except for UAA. Wait, why?
I don't know. Get it out!
I was like, there's like really angry people in ours. None of them.
What number? They were like 4
I'm
from the last.
11 of 12.
So I think that's like 9. I need her to like. You're right after.
Oh, I'm right before after.
I need her to like yell.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like. Sometimes like we don't make everything. Like, I'm gonna look for.
Like, I know who number 1 is. That's it.
Yeah.
My
Okay, let me like. None of us.
I once had those shoes and the spikes would never stay in. Like with the spikes they gave me, they just fell out. I don't know why. I like them, the spikes. My other ones are functional. Like they're working. Yeah, they don't look great, but.
Let's go, free cross. Let's go. All the way through.
I'm on hold.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You got this. First jump is always ridiculous.
Yep.
Let's get to 38. Confidence is key.
Yes.
How's the ankle?
It's good.
Good?
It doesn't hurt too much.
The back guy? Why didn't we get the other guy? The other guy was a little lenient on when we scratched.
Right?
We scratched.
Let's be like a little toenail on the yellow. Yeah.
Come on, back up. Let's go back up. You got it, Eka. Come on, girl.
She's 10. I thought there's only 12.
You might be right.
I think there's 12 because I was like the second to last.
Come on. Come on.
I slow down. Yeah. Next time I throw you that. Good job, Lee.
There you go, Eka.
You got this, Darby.
Oh, no, that's that.
Okay. Oh my god, he's done. Okay. Got this, Darby. Should I yell?
There you go, Eka.
What was the distance?
It wasn't great.
I mean, it's a solid start.
No, yeah, and she said I was like,
Yeah.
I scooted back though because I was
I'm see everyone's fine. I think I'm gonna like so like I cut my down to my back.
Yeah, what did you get?
And I was still not
I think I got my like nerves out because like my faces went really fast. Do you know what that is in feet? Like around? Like is it at least a 34?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I think my first phase was also like really, I think I went like,
We got this. My legs are like shaking right now.
no worries.
I think my hands are a little bit.
Sorry.
Sorry. Good job, by the way.
Go, Grace. Go, Gracie. Come on, Grace.
You got it.
I can go farther. How about trying not to land on my foot? I really don't remember the job. I might just do it anyway. Like,
You really don't remember? I don't know. Come on, Heidi.
for every high jump.
Come on, going up. Get it up.
That's 30, 36.
I thought that was like 36. Isn't that high?
It's like a 36 something. Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it. I can do it. Also. Yeah. You can do it.
Come on, Heidi.
You're not up yet. Is that girls? What did Jordan get? Okay, girls. You got this. Big jump, big jump. Your body's feeling good today? You got it.
Let's go, Nyla.
All right, we pick up action with the women's triple jump at the 2018 UAA Indoor Track and Field Championships. Along with Nate Wahner, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you on board here this afternoon as we continue our coverage. It is almost the afternoon. It's shortly after 11 o'clock, but we've been going for just over 2 hours so far today. The men's triple jump and the women's shot put are complete. The women's high jump has just completed. And now the women's triple jump, the fourth event of the day. And so we'll recap some of the coverage for you so far. First, the men's triple jump. Maybe a bit of an upset. Churchill Perry from Brandeis with a fantastic jump of 14.2 meters, which was significantly better than what he came in, I should say 14.24. Significantly better than what he came in at 13.44 in terms of his seed. By far the best jump of the day, Nate. That was super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, almost a whole meter PR is just incredible and absolutely crazy in the final, but that's what, a conference championship can do to you, the energy it brings, and, he brought his best today, and that's, what matters.
So Brandeis picked up 10 points with the conference champion in the triple jump. Eloy Fernandez, who was the favorite, finished in second place. His best jump was 13.98. At 13.49, Washington University's Izugu Onejame Frederick Dauphin, Charlie Hu, and Collis McKenzie from Carnegie Mellon, Emory, and WashU round out grabbing points in the men's triple jump. So Brandeis, a champion in that event. In the women's shot put, how about this? Emory's Greta Wilker had the best throw in the prelims. She flew in yesterday after a softball game, knowing that she would compete today, and she goes out and she wins. That is terrific. She wins the women's shot put with a throw of 12.32 meters, and certainly deserves a pat on the back for that. So Emory has a champion in the women's shot put. Ade Ayula finishes in second place. She also is all conference in the women's high jump. Emory's Cora Drefts finishes in third. So how about 16 points for Emory just in the women's shot put? Shannon Carroll from Case took fourth place, 4 points for her. 2 points for Brandeis' Jordan Carter, and Randall Walker from WashU grabbed a point as well. Your thoughts on the women's shot put?
I mean, just incredible. Greta Wilker flying in last night and comes out today and takes home the championship. And as you said before, she was playing at a softball game yesterday, and comes in today to do this. That's very unusual and not something you see every day, but taking advantage of all the opportunities she's getting. That's what
being a Division III athlete is all about, and it's great to see that her coaching staffs on both the track and the softball side are encouraging of her being able to do that. So the women's high jump has concluded, as you can kind of see the women's triple jump being contested there down that long straightaway. The women's high jump, the top 3 finishers, all from the University of Chicago. The winner is Laura Darcy. She cleared at 5 feet 6 inches. She could not clear 5 feet 7 inches, but the 5 feet 6 inches is enough, at least at the moment, to put her in the conversation for the national meet coming up in a couple of weeks. Her teammates Alexandra Thompson and Ade Ayula each finished in second and third place. The fourth and fifth place finishers were Emory's Jordan Small and Washington University's Anna Casio. So top 3 spots for one school. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but boy, to pick up 24 points in one event, it's not unheard of, but that's going to make up a bunch of points for them as a team.
Yeah, it's going to put a huge dent in today to the point total they want to have and any points they want to make up. So that's huge for them. And Laura Darcy was taking attempts at the meet record and coming back after winning the long jump yesterday. So that's pretty incredible. She now has won 2 field events here this weekend, and that's definitely going to put her in the conversation for field event athlete of the meet on the women's side.
Yeah, she definitely has a good chance. I imagine her teammate Ayula probably in that contention as well, being able to place in both the shot put and the high jump. That will help her as well. Always fun to see who wins those awards along the way. So we're watching the triple jump coverage. This is the women's triple jump. There are not too many field events remaining. The women's triple jump will go for a little while longer here. Men's pole vault, you can occasionally see them. They're at just the bottom of your screen. They are running off of your camera. At the moment, those guys are all just warming up. They'll get underway at 12 noon. Then at 12:30, the men's shot put, and that's the final field event of the 2018 indoor games. We did have a fault on that last jump. Hopefully we'll be able to let you know here shortly who is up. I believe that this is Heidi Nasos from Washington University. Nasos with a jump of 11 meters as her seed mark. Certainly one of the better ones in the conference, but she's going to need a big meet.
Yeah, you can see here on your screen all the teams are starting to gather down there by that triple jump and start to really cheer on their team and get their teammates amped up and hopefully hitting some big marks.
It's always fun when the teams gather down there, that's for sure. Our first track events will come your way in about 45 minutes or so. Actually, just less than that. The women's mile starts at noon, and then the men's mile at 12:15. That was Sam Keltz from Case Western. And again, we are working on getting some of these distances radioed up to us from the furthest point away from where we are, but we'll do the best we can. By the way, if you want to follow along with some of the live results, if you are tuning in and out throughout the course of the day, certainly don't expect that you tuned in at 9 a.m. and you'll sit glued to your computer till 2:30, but in case you have other things, you're kind of tuning in and out, that's fine too. The video feed and the live results feed, the links are right next to each other, so you can easily pull up, and if you wanted to know how things went in the triple jump this morning, and maybe we haven't recapped it in a little bit for you, you can easily check that out right near where you're watching our live coverage. Let's try to give you an update on the team scores as well. Washington University had a great first day, and we knew that they were in first place after day one. As soon as we can get updated team numbers for you, we'll pass those along, but at least after the first day, I'll tell you where teams stood coming in. Washington University had 42 points yesterday. Chicago at 40 was just a couple back, and I imagine that the Maroons at the moment are probably in first place. Of course, this is on the women's side, and then Case, Carnegie Mellon, Brandeis, Emory, and NYU in that order. On the men's side, a more comfortable lead for WashU after day one. They had a 42-32 lead over Case. But I would think right now the University of Chicago on the ladies' side with those 24 points in the high jump is probably overtaken first place. And we'll see what the rest of the afternoon holds.
Yeah, that's a huge event for Chicago. I mean, 3 on the podium, 24 points. It's going to be a huge dent for them and help them stay in contention with WashU as the day goes on.
And pole vaulters continue their warm-ups, so occasionally you'll see them just partially impede your view for a minute. Meanwhile, I think that's Ika Jose for Washington University. So they've just announced over the public address system the places for the women's high jump, and as we mentioned a moment ago, that Chicago took the top 3 spots. It was Casio in 4th, Small from Emory in 5th, and Nyla Lindo from Emory finished in 6th place. Case, their top finisher was Bailey Flint in 7th place, and so no points for the Spartans in that regard. But Emory does pick up 3 points, finishing in both 5th and 6th place. All right, so let's get you a couple of updates here. We are almost done with the preliminary rounds for the women's triple jump, where they will cut the field from 12 down to 7 in the finals. Looks like the best jump we've had so far belongs to the NYU competitor, who is certainly the favorite here, Evelyn Nkenga. Her best jump of the afternoon is 11.76, and you're about to see her go here. This will be the last one on the women's triple jump, I should say. She leaps into the pit. She will certainly be the top seed going into the finals. And we'll let you know who else qualifies, but I think it's likely that you'll see Ika Jose from Washington University. And Nkenga with an 11.54 on that last jump, and that wraps up the preliminary heat. So Nkenga is definitely through. Jose from Washington University is through. I imagine that Nassos from Washington University is through. We have most of the scores, but not quite all of them. Nassos had an 11.31, so she should get through. Sam Keltz from Case Western, her most recent jump was a good one, 11.47 after faulting early on, so she should also advance. Who else gets through? Well, we'll let you know as we find out, but they'll take that break at the end of the preliminary jumps. And we'll set up those top 7 for you momentarily. But for now, we'll step aside for just a quick minute or two and get ourselves situated. You're watching coverage of the women's triple jump with the men's pole vault coming up shortly. And in just over half an hour, we'll start our track events on the final day of the 2018 Indoor Track and Field Championships inside the UAA.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. Let's just sing happy birthday at Izzy's house. Yeah.
You guys both made it.
I don't know. I couldn't hear what they were jumping. Like,
I'm pretty sure it was bottom.
we'll start it. We'll be like, he is fresh. He's like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done better.
I was shocked that the last jump was your farthest. Because the second phase was so short. It was just like,
Yeah. I don't know. I felt it was better Norma.
yeah.
It's disappointing to like.
Hey, triple jump.
That wasn't even my first jump this year. So just trying to like have so much rest.
Yeah.
That girl, the white girl, the British one, I'm pretty sure she didn't high jump last year. Or she did, I don't remember.
Just keep it going, baby.
Wait, am I still going?
You're in the final.
Okay. Okay. Under my breath. Though. Oh, he's talking.
That's not close though. But it's okay. I'm getting over it. But thank you.
I'd even play this down, and I don't know what she looks like.
Moment where you look like this, you're like perfect, but you just go, yeah. But hi.
Not as bad as the last one. Shit, that's not that bad. It's like a mental thing. But you're welcome to use it.
Well, now I'm numb because of that. Literally, like,
Don't want to like double
my
dose.
hips are actually so, like, it doesn't hurt. Pretty good. You actually, you should have taken ibuprofen.
I took a leave already, so I would, but like, I don't do a leave and do it over too much, and then like have my body shut down. My lip will fall out of my head. You know that won't happen. And my granduncle told me, he's like, yeah, the doctor told me to take like 2 Tylenol 3 times a day. I was like, 6 Tylenol? I was like, don't do that. He's like, I know, my daughter said that was too much. I was like, yes it is. Doctor's trying to kill you. I didn't say that, but I was like, that's too much. I'm like, take like 2.
I mean, you can take one at a time. Every 4 hours. But still, you shouldn't do that every day. Or take
Because
things
he like the doctor said like this was take like an arthritis pill 3 times a day with 2 Tylenol each time. I'm like, that's too much. I mean, I don't know anything about arthritis, so I'm not trying to prescribe it.
Arthritis is bad, but you know what's worse? Dying of liver failure.
Yeah.
There's some medicines that aren't supposed to use or innocent or whatever the fuck you call it. I don't know if those are Excedrin is not. And that should be having it. I think it's so effective.
I love watching basketball. I like watching the men. I mean, I like watching it too. Who? Who? Why?
You heard his name. You said it so fucking loud.
Dead end. Yeah, maybe I do talk louder than I think. Like on the bus I do, because like I had headphones in, so I speak to hear myself over my music. I knew that shit was loud. But I didn't think that many people would hear me. I fucking hate that you should love it. Oh fuck, Nikita's right there.
That's what I was saying.
I didn't see him.
Yeah.
I really hate it. Yes, I was like, I like, sound like Squidward. In Chicago. On my last run through her coach, I like tried not to laugh. Like that time I love those. People are crazy. If they're even real stories.
I'm not sure. She said we cannot sometimes.
That doesn't happen. I mean, yeah, like sometimes you can, but like, why is my mom calling me? I'm still.
She's like, oh, we just happened to.
My mom can hear me. Like, be careful what you say. Oh, my mom heard us talking. She heard us talking. She called just now. She's like, you took in a lead. And she's like, be careful what you say. I was like, what did I say? I was talking to the Chicago coach.
How did she hear us?
I don't know if I pressed something or if I actually answered her call.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, did I say something bad? I was talking about my uncle, but I didn't say anything bad about him. I said, that's too much, uncle. Oh well. Oh no, I'm scared.
What did she hear me say?
Oh, my mom doesn't care. She'll be like, only bad mouth was the Chicago coach. My sister has cookies.
You're here. Check in.
Time for the finals in the women's triple jump. And we have our 7 competitors. We'll let you know who is going and when, but I believe we're going to get started on that far side. They will not compete in the same order that they did through the first preliminary. They reseed them based on how everyone jumped early on. But our competitors are Elise Chow from Washington University. Rachel Willard had a great prelim, and she actually knocked off her teammate Sam Keltz, who would have been favored to make the finals. So Rachel Willard from Case, I believe, was the first to jump there. Grace Penders from Chicago. Heidi Nessos from Washington University. Emory's Nyla Lindo, Wash U's Ika Jose, and Evelyn Nkenga from NYU, one of the top triple jumpers in the nation. She will certainly be the favorite and the top seed here. In fact, she's 3rd nationally, isn't she, in the women's triple jump?
Yeah, she's 3rd nationally. Elise Chow is 20th, and Eka Jose is 27th. So this is a pretty strong triple jump field on the women's side, and we can expect to see some pretty big jumps.
Rachel Willard's first jump, 10.56. Meanwhile, I am pretty sure this is Grace Penders from Chicago. I think she's the only maroon that made it through. There are a couple of Wash U Bears that'll be competing, so we'll try to separate those for you as best we can. We'll have the distances of the jumps radioed up to us as Nyla Lindo from Emory gets ready. That last one from Penders, 11.55 meters. And Nyla Lindo leaps into the pit. We do have some updated team scores for you through the last women's event completed, and it is the women's shot put that was just entered into the system. University of Chicago has a 48-43 lead over Washington, and then it's Emory in third at 28 points. Case with 26 is in fourth. Brandeis and Carnegie Mellon tied for fifth at 20 points apiece. NYU only has 1 point, but boy, I got a pretty good feeling they're going to pick up some big points from Evelyn and Kenga in this event. They certainly need them from her. We'll see how that all shakes out. And Elise Chow from Washington University just committed a fault. So she was the best jump we have from her so far is 11.1. Another competitor for WashU. Not sure if this is Heidi Nassos or Ika Jose, but we'll find out in a minute.
I believe that's Jose.
Okay.
She competed yesterday in the long jump and had a good showing there, and so she's back again today. And
well, she essentially flew through the air. It was Jose, 11.25. That's a great jump for Jose. That is the best that she's put forward so far today by a couple hundredths of a meter. So this is Heidi Nassos. Wow, look how long those strides were. Super explosive into the pit. That must be an awfully good jump. Nassos all smiles.
yeah, Nassau also got second yesterday in the pole vault, so she's back again and competing in another event.
Well, she just jumped 11.46, and that is the new top mark for her. 11.76 from Nkanga, who's about to jump here, is the best so far in this meet. And I don't think she got her best effort on that one. But Nkanga still at 11.76 is in first place. Everybody's got 2 jumps left. Well, she stayed on her feet nicely. And she's called for the fault. All right, everybody has 2 jumps left. So far, NYU in first place. Rachel Willard makes it into the pit, falls forward. That helps her a little bit. Starting to see some of the track athletes warming up. In about 15 minutes, the women's mile commences. And at 12:15, half an hour from now, the men's mile will get rolling. And then we'll have a lot of the shorter distance and sprints to close out our coverage here. Final day of the 2018 Indoor Track and Field Championships. If you joined us late, I'm Brendan Gulick, Nate Wahner alongside. Nate, a competitive athlete here at Case and competed at the national meet last year for the Spartans, so this is, in some regard, probably got your juices flowing to make you think, man, I wish I was back out there. I have to imagine that being back in this setting is comfortable for you.
Yeah, it's great to be back. There's just a lot of emotions when you come back to this. It's great to be there, and you always want to be out there competing with your teammates. Still get super nervous watching them compete, and it's like I'm out there with them and still get the adrenaline going just watching races, and it's super fun and super great to be here and be able to.
Fun to see Case hosting an event like this too. I know it has a tendency to rotate around between some of the different programs, but what a gorgeous facility. As the track only 2 years old. Nyla Linda Let's try that again. Nyla Lindo. I said that backwards. Penders, by the way, had 10.79, not quite as far as her first leap. Lindo, 10.44 on her first jump in the finals. Elise Chow getting ready. It was a 10.55 jump for Lindo. And Chow kind of stumbled into the pit, didn't really make it all that far. She's a little frustrated with herself.
Yeah, she had a great first and second phase, but just wasn't able to push off on that second step to complete the jump and get that final phase in there.
About halfway through our women's triple jump finals. Eka Jose from Washington University. Really nice effort from her. That's a great leap. Jose was 11.25 in her first. Well, she's called for a fault. I wonder where she went wrong.
Yeah, it's hard to see the board from here, so it's difficult to tell what's going on there and be able to point out the fouls and small errors that can be made. This event is pretty difficult because you gotta, sprint at this board, and then you have to plant, your 1 foot on the board, and you don't want to be over and you don't want to be too far under. So there's a lot of tactics, and you're counting out your steps and trying to make sure you're at the right distance to hit the board with the most speed and get the most distance off that first phase and really get transition to that second and third phase to complete it.
Heidi Nassos with a really good jump. She was 11.46 in her first. Right now she's in second place behind this young lady who is about to go, Evelyn Nkanga. Nassos 11.46 on her first in the finals. That is her best so far of the afternoon. And Nkanga just goes hurling into the pit, but I don't think she's going full force, even though she's running hard. She's got that top mark by quite a bit. It's an 11.42 jump for Nkanga. Still waiting to find out what Nassos had on her second jump. So we start the third and final triple jump for all 7 competitors. Rachel Willard from Case, who was the last person into the championship heat. It was good for her because coming into this meet, she actually was the 9th best qualifying jump. So for her to make it into the final flight certainly speaks to her work ethic and her performance.
Yeah, she had to work up and knock a few people off to get into these finals, and now that she's here, she's really making the best of the opportunity.
10.42 for Willard in her last jump. That was a pretty nice one from Grace Penders from the University of Chicago. I venture a guess that's probably her best. Penders 11.55 on her first leap. That's probably around the same distance. She's pretty jazzed up. It might even be further. Well, they said it's 11.02, but Chicago's kids are pretty fired up for that to be 11.02. All right, well, nice to have the support. Nyla Lindo.
There's a lot of strategy with this event too, because you can't sprint at the board all out because you have to be controlled enough to make 3 jumps. And, you're going to have your first one, then you got to land, brace yourself, and then push off again, and then, do that a 3rd time. So a lot of practice and a lot of strength involved in this. It's really rough on the legs, and you'll see these athletes later probably walking around with ice bags all over their legs trying to recover for just practice on Monday, or even just that they aren't in too much pain later.
Great jump by Elise Chow. We'll see where she ends up. I have to imagine that in a lot of ways it's about consistency of your stride, so that jump after jump you can put yourself in the great position to be able to leap and have your momentum going forward instead of kind of falling backwards.
Yeah, and if you watch close enough, you'll see when they're landing between phases, their foot lands on their heel and they seem to roll forward onto their toes, trying to carry that momentum from step to step. So if you watch closely, you'll be able to see that on these few final jumps.
At the moment, Evelyn Nkanga is our leader. We've only got 3 jumps left. This is Eka Jose from Washington University. Good effort from her as the Bears try to pick up lots of points in the women's triple jump. Men's pole vault is coming up shortly, and the men's shot put in similar fashion. 11.32 for Jose in her final leap. We'll see if that's good enough to put her on the podium. Nassos needs a big leap here for the Bears. Oh my gosh, that was huge.
She was almost into the pit on her 2nd step. That's just incredible.
Is it enough to put her over the top? No, 11.33. So Nkanga will be your champion, but she'll have one more jump just to see what kind of measure she can put up. NYU's Evelyn Nkanga, top mark in the UAA this year. And a nice effort from her. So Nkanga from NYU is going to give the Violets 10 points, considering they only had 1 entering this event. They're going to really enjoy having 11 now as they start to make their move. But Nkanga is your champion after having jumped 11.76 in her prelims.